6 countries, including some of America's closest allies, have recently issued new warnings or restrictions for citizens traveling to the United States. And these aren't clues. America is unstable, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous, according to official government advisories. From Australia to Germany, these governments are now telling their citizens to think twice before heading to the US. Some people view aggressive immigration enforcement as a warning. Others bring up political unrest, natural disasters, and risks to LGBTQ+ travelers. Yes, it's already hitting hard. Airlines are cutting flights, tourism is in a tailspin, and it is estimated that the US economy will lose over $12 billion this year from foreign tourists alone. But what's really going on here? Is this just politics as usual, or is something deeper happening that could change how people view America for years to come? This video dissects the 6 countries leading this movement and explains why many Americans are so furious. We've done the research, collected the data, and analyzed the global reaction, so you don't have to. You should stay until the very end, though, because this is more than just tourism. This relates to the future of international relations with the United States, as well as identity and image. If you care about how the world currently perceives America, please click the like button to help support more content like this and to make sure you don't miss what's coming next. Canada comes in first. Let's begin in Canada, the United States' closest and biggest travel partner. In 2024 alone, more than 20 million Canadians crossed the border, spending more than $20 billion at US restaurants, hotels, and tourist attractions. But this year, everything was different. On April 11th, the Canadian government significantly updated its US travel advisory. Citizens are now advised to register with US immigration officials if they stay in the country for more than 30 days. If they don't comply, they could face fines, penalties, or even misdemeanor charges. This is a big shift. This restriction, which had previously applied to other nationalities, was rarely applied to Canadians until recently. Canadian visitors have reacted coldly and swiftly. Many people are cancelling their vacations because they are confused and irritated by what is expected of them. Airlines are already feeling the pinch. Formerly profitable routes have been eliminated as 2 of the country's largest airlines, Air Canada and WestJet, have cut back on the number of flights they provide to the US. The US states that draw the most Canadian tourists, Florida, California, New York, and Texas, are currently bracing for the consequences. As fewer Canadians cross the border, these regions might see steep drops in tourism, retail, and hospitality revenue. It's especially alarming that Canada isn't bringing up violence or terrorism. The complexity and limitations of US immigration are alarming tourists. For the first time in a long time, many Canadians are quietly saying, maybe this year we'll go somewhere else. Second is China. At the start of April, the Chinese government issued a clear and thorough warning to its citizens. Traveling to the United States is risky. The warning from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism focused on 2 main issues: the deterioration of economic and trade relations between the United States and China, as well as what it referred to as the domestic security situation in the United States. Let's be clear, this is more than just diplomatic theatre. It's a big economic and symbolic shift. For many years, Chinese tourists dominated US inbound travel, spending more per capita than almost any other group. In essence, Beijing's current message is that we don't think the US will defend you. It's a real effect. Inbound travel from Asia, especially China, is still 25% less than it was before the pandemic, according to the US Travel Association. That number is devastating for cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York that have historically depended on Chinese tourists to drive retail and luxury travel spending. The advice did not specifically address any particular events, but experts say they are part of a larger trend. Growing anti-Asian sentiment, visa delays, and inconsistent treatment at US borders are all contributing to the fears. In China, social media was ablaze with reports of tourists being detained, questioned, or refused entry. The idea of visiting the US is now either put off or approached with caution by the Chinese middle class, who have always been enthralled with American education and culture. Third place goes to the United Kingdom. Though travel advisories are testing the relationship rather than diplomacy, the United States and the United Kingdom have long praised their special partnership. In March 2025, the British government made a major change to its recommendation for travel to the United States. The phrase, enforcement of entry rules, was modified to strict enforcement of entry rules. One word that has a profound impact. The updated warning urges British nationals to verify all requirements, including the validity of their visas and the details of their documents, and emphasizes that they may still be denied entry even if they have the proper paperwork. In recent months, there have been reports of UK nationals being denied entry to US airports and sometimes detained for hours without cause. A more general warning was added by the British government by June. There is no guarantee that travel will be safe. This dire warning was sparked by growing concerns about political rallies, civil unrest, and unfair treatment at border crossings. For a country whose citizens once had no trouble passing freely through US customs, it's a significant departure from the norm. This feeling of travel freezing is already influencing behavior. Questions like, is it safe to go? And what will they ask me at the border? Are common in travel forums. Client hesitancy has increased, according to British tour operators. For British travellers who once considered the US to be a cultural brother and a well-liked vacation destination, there is now a persistent sense of uncertainty. Is the trouble worth the risk? Australia comes in at number 4. The United States and Australia have long maintained a close military, diplomatic, and, yes, tourism relationship. But in 2025, a bureaucratic shift in that relationship is forcing Australian travellers to re-evaluate. Back in April, the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade updated its advice on travel to the US. The guidance now warns citizens that US border officials may inspect their electronic devices, read their private messages, and even deny them entry without a good reason. Within weeks, new rules were in place. Australians who intend to remain in the US for longer than 30 days are now required to register with US immigration authorities. Many travellers compare it to negotiating a red tape maze with unanticipated rules, invasive surveillance, and no guarantees. And it's not just red tape. Another warning highlights the risks of attending locations where protests are frequent due to the potential for violence and chaos. Adding wildfire season notifications, especially in the western US, further blurs the picture. Everything is accumulating rapidly. Intrepid Travel, a well-known small group travel company in Australia, reported a 25% drop in US reservations this year. At the same time, they made 14% more reservations for other foreign destinations. The company didn't mince words. Travel demand is shifting outside of the United States. For a nation that once considered the US to be a welcoming and accessible travel destination, Australia's updated warning sends a different message. Proceed, but with caution. 5th place goes to Germany. Germany has long been one of the most reliable European travel destinations to the United States. But German authorities took a novel step in March 2025. They began warning travellers that US visa waivers do not guarantee entry, even if they are granted. Indeed, precisely, Germans with valid travel documents have reportedly been detained or denied entry at US airports. The primary issue is the growing dispute over gender identity and the evolving border enforcement regulations in the United States. Germany's Foreign Office specifically warns that all visitors must identify as either male or female on visa applications, which is a direct contradiction to the country's legal acceptance of non-binary and X-gender markers. German nationals whose passports don't match the sex they were assigned at birth may face additional scrutiny or even be denied entry to the US. These problems are not merely theoretical. The guidelines recommend that transgender and non-binary travelers contact the US Embassy before attempting to cross the border. However, gender is not the only issue. Germany has also issued a warning about politically motivated violence in the US, specifically in connection with election-related protests and unrest. Wildfires, high crime rates in a number of cities, and general instability are now included in the official guidelines. These warnings present a different, riskier, and unpredictable image of the US, even though it is still a popular travel destination. German travelers now travel the traditional American road trip with much more paperwork and much less peace of mind. Ireland is ranked number 6. For many Irish tourists, visiting the United States has been a rite of passage, whether they are visiting family, exploring well-known locations, or chasing the American dream. But when the Irish Department of Foreign Affairs revised its travel advice in March 2025, it marked a dramatic change in tone. Exercise caution, especially if you are a member of a vulnerable group. As global travel advisories tighten, it's more important than ever to stay informed about changing regulations and safety concerns when planning a trip. Understanding the complexities facing international visitors in the United States can help you make smart decisions and protect yourself on your journey. If you found this information helpful and want to stay updated on the latest travel news and insights, be sure to like and subscribe for more content that keeps you informed and prepared wherever you go.